All right, thanks for stopping in. You want to hang with me on this first little burn here? We're gonna test this piece of wood out. Let me turn up this burner to about 8.5, almost 9. 8.5, almost 9. I did a little sketch on this piece of wood here. Again, this is a piece of an old fence board I had in the backyard. So I took it, cut it into pieces, stuck it on my belt sander for a little bit. Not for very long, as you can tell, but I just want to see how it burns. I cut me a few pieces of it, and like I thought, yeah, see, I don't know if you review those other videos where I burned on a piece of wood that had a protective coating on it. It was not at all like this. This is the way it's supposed to burn. Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, see, and this piece of wood, a very old piece of 6-foot long fence board. Very old, very dry, which is better. The older ones are better. And I say that like I burned on these. I haven't. But dry wood, of course, is better. You don't want sap in there or anything. This one has been laying in my shed out back probably over a year. There's no liquid in it. It is dry. It is dry. But as you can see, yeah, it's burning very well. I'm just doing this for a demonstration, so I'm not going to try to center anything, or it's not something I made to keep, or I just want to see how this wood does. And I've cut a few pieces. This is not one of the better ones, but it doesn't matter. I could sand any of them off really good if I wanted to. I just rough sanded it a little bit. Just to see. And yeah, it burns about like what I thought. That's the way it should burn. Now, this kind of wood, you could make something very nice for somebody if you laid everything out right, and you could do a really nice burn. I'm gonna try on one of these pieces, not today, but after I burn it, I'm gonna try to put some teak oil on it and see what that does. May not like it. I don't know. I've never used it before, but I've got some. I got it for my walking sticks, to use on my walking sticks, and I haven't done it yet. But I think I'm going to test it on one of these. Put some teak oil on it. See if it works the way I want, and then put a sealant on there. And for something really nice, then I would put that polyurethane combination of a thickener and the polyurethane. Yeah, this burns. This wood burns the way it should. You could do some. You could do something with this wood, and it's just an old dry piece of fence board cut up with a handsaw. Run a belt sander across it. Run it across a belt sander. Yes, indeed. Yes, could be. This is a kind of wood. This is a kind of wood burn that I was wanted to show last week, but I didn't have a good piece of wood. I had wood that yeah, I didn't have a good piece of wood. Yeah. Yeah, but this is burning. This is burning good. This is burning good. I've got more, there's more heads for this burn, but I'm not going to pull them out for this. Just want to show you show you what wood burns like that has no finish on it, which is what you should be burning on, actually. Yeah. Yeah, this stuff burns nicely. It does have its hard spots, but it's so dry that it doesn't react the way. If any of you watched that burn I did on that old piece of plywood, it had some very hard spots on it, and those spots don't want to burn. You know, knots where knots were. And on plywood, you know, plywood is just a mixture of junk wood glued together, so it's not at all good to be burning on. See, this burns the way it's supposed to. You could do good stuff with this. Yeah, surely could. Yeah. But see, like I was saying, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make something nice. I mean, if you're going to make something for somebody, this piece of wood would be great. You know, even though it's an old it's an old piece of fence board, but it doesn't matter. What you make out of it is something else, you know. And as you can see, what it winds up being is far more. Thing is with these burners, like I say, don't you get too preoccupied. I feel my fingers sliding up because the way I like to hold a pencil is closer up. You slide your fingers up there and touch that metal. That's it. You got a burn, a good burn. It, you know, it's very hot. Very hot. This particular head, burning head, I like because it has a flat surface, and you can do fine lines with it as you turn it sideways. And you can do shading with it if you turn it flat. I just wanted to do this initial burn to see if this wood was worth my time or not. I've got a fairly good piece that I'm gonna, I'll draw something hopefully worth keeping on, and then we'll do a burn on that, and then we'll put that teak oil on it, and we'll see what it looks like if we can make something worth keeping, you know. But yeah, this burns nicely. So dry. There's no liquid in it. That's the best part. So I guess what I would say to you is, if you're going to use fence boards, use old ones. Look for old fence boards, or look for old wood that's dry. Yeah, look for old wood that's dry. Now for walking sticks, if you're going to make those, they should dry out about a year. I have some in the roof of my shed that's been drying for over a year. September was a year, and I need to, you can let them set for 2 years to get the water out, but need a year minimum if it's from a green cut of a tree, because you want that to be dry. You know. Yeah. See. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. This is the way you want it to burn. That is the way you want it to burn. Yeah. It's just dry. It's dry about just about right. Yeah. Yeah, this wood right back here where I'm doing these leaves is kind of hard. There must have been a knot back there. You can feel it. You can feel the burner sink in when it hits that soft, dry wood. Good thing about this burner, this particular burner, it gets very hot really quick, so you don't have to waste a lot of time prepping the burner. You just turn it on, turn it up, and it's ready. The cheaper ones, you have to let them set, not that long, but you have to let them set for a minute or two to heat up. And this one is only $100, the one I've got here that I'm using here. It's at Harbor Freight. You can get it at Harbor Freight for $100. Well, I bought it for $100 a few months ago. So, but it's been worth it. Yeah, definitely. Because you could, if you got patience, and what I'm doing now, you know, I just threw this on there real quick, sketched it real quick, and it's not lined up to keep or anything. But sketched it on there real quick, and then started to burn it. No planning. But if you plan something with this wood, you could make something. You can make something really nice, and all this is a, like I said, fence board that you can buy at a hardware store like Home Depot, Lowe's. Sell these, but if you're going to use them to burn, use the, you know, get the old stuff. The old dry ones are better than if you're going to use it to burn. You don't want you know, a bunch of sap and stuff in it. You don't want green. So it'd be ideal, I guess, if you could find somebody who had a board fence and they're, you know, tearing it down or something, and get those old boards. Because they're the best. Yeah. All right, yeah. So, like I said, we just want to see. We just want to see. want to see how this does, and it burns pretty well. Burns pretty well. So, yeah. Burns pretty well. Yeah. And little Christmas Eve burn there. Little Christmas Eve burn demonstration. There's a head on these burners for writing. I'm not going to pull it out, but this one's not made for writing. That's all right. It's just an old piece of wood. So we turn our little burner off. Put that head back on a safe spot because I've got paper all over here and you don't want a house fire. Alrighty. So there's a little burn demonstration for you. Little Christmas Eve burn demonstration. All right, thanks for stopping in. I'll work on some other stuff, and we'll do a real good burn one of these times. So Merry Christmas.